We don't always recognize warriors by their armor. Some walk barefoot through the world, unnoticed by the masses, yet carrying within them the thunder of divine purpose. These warriors, God's strongest chosen, are not always found in temples or churches. Some are in prisons, some in schools, some behind store counters, and some in solitary silence. But make no mistake, they are among us, and they are not here by accident. They were sent, planted like seeds before time unfolded. Their lives are not their own. Their suffering is not random. Their strength is not of this world. You may be one of them. You may have always felt different, like something ancient is sleeping inside you, waiting for the right moment to rise. You may have endured pain that made no sense, betrayals that shattered your identity, storms that left your soul in pieces. And through it all, something in you refused to break. You bent. You wept, but you didn't disappear. Why? Because you were never just a person. You were a carrier of light forged in darkness. You were chosen to hold the line when others fled. You were assigned a mission that even you have forgotten, but your soul hasn't. The first time I realized this truth, it wasn't through a book. It wasn't during meditation. It was in the middle of suffering so deep I thought God had abandoned me. But in that silence, I felt it not a voice, but a presence. Not a command, but a knowing. You were being trained, not punished, not forsaken, trained. Because the strongest warriors are not trained in comfort. They are trained in fire. They are trained in exile. They are trained through the long nights where no one sees them but God. And here's the mystery. God doesn't choose the strongest by appearance. He chooses those who are willing. Willing to be broken open. Willing to walk alone. Willing to surrender their ego for a mission they may never fully understand. These 7 types of warriors walk among us, and each carries a different vibration of divine power. Not better, not worse, different. Like colors in a spectrum, each is necessary. And right now they are activating. One of them is the guardian of truth. This is the warrior who cannot tolerate deception, not even in themselves. They are truth speakers, truth bearers, truth defenders. They often suffer from being misunderstood because they see what others refuse to see. Their gift is discernment. Their curse is isolation. But their role is sacred. They don't just speak truth, they embody it. And in a world of illusions, that alone is revolutionary. Another is the carrier of compassion. Don't mistake their softness for weakness. Their hearts have been shattered and reassembled so many times that they now bleed grace. These are the ones who feel everything, who weep for strangers, who forgive the unforgivable. Their power is subtle but immense. They are the healers of emotional wounds, the stabilizers of chaos, the light in human form. But they've paid for it often through lifetimes of abandonment and heartbreak. Why? Because their empathy had to be earned, refined, made sacred. Then there are the warriors of shadow. These are the ones who have faced their own darkness and lived to tell the tale. They don't fear evil because they've touched it. They've battled their own demons and now help others conquer theirs. They are spiritual assassins cutting through delusion, ego, addiction, and fear. They don't wear robes. They wear scars. But they are pure because they purified themselves. Not by avoiding sin, but by walking through it and choosing light anyway. Each of these warriors operates differently, but they are united by one thing: a deep, unshakable connection to something beyond this world. They may not even call it God. Some call it source, love, the infinite, but they obey it. And they trust it, even when it leads them into deserts with no map. Have you ever felt like your pain was trying to teach you something deeper than survival? Like your life wasn't just about success or comfort, but about becoming something eternal? That's not delusion. That's memory. You're remembering who you are. And the world will try to make you forget. Every system from media to culture to religion will try to cage your soul, to tame your fire, to convince you that you're here to conform, not awaken. but the warrior in you knows better. You were not sent here to be safe. You were sent here to be sacred, and sacred beings do not live ordinary lives. They are pulled apart and rebuilt. They are stretched past their limits. They are stripped of everything that was never truly theirs. And when it's all gone, when the identity, the validation, the dreams all burn to ash, what remains is the warrior, not a title. Not a costume. A being, a soul who said yes to something eternal. But here's the twist. The strongest warriors don't always look strong. They may be battling addiction, raising children alone, recovering from trauma, wrestling with doubt, but their strength is hidden in the fact that they keep going, that they love even when unloved, that they rise even when it would be easier to stay down, that they speak truth even when their voice shakes, that they forgive even when it would be easier to hate. You want to know who a true chosen warrior is? Watch how they treat others when no one is watching. Watch how they act when they've been broken. Watch how they love when they've been unloved. That's where the power is, not in miracles, not in magic, in integrity, in obedience to the divine when no one else understands. So I ask you, what if the battles you faced weren't punishments, but initiations? What if your pain was not proof of your weakness, but the evidence of your assignment? What if everything you lost wasn't a loss, but a clearing for the mission you came here to fulfill? What if you are one of them?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Before a warrior can rise, they must descend. That's the sacred paradox no one tells you. We imagine God's chosen warriors as already powerful, already glowing, already wise, but in truth they are forged. They are not handed their strength. They earn it through a series of hidden trials, what I call the 7 seals of power. These are not visible badges. They are internal initiations. And only those who pass through them can truly carry the weight of divine authority without being crushed by it. The first seal is isolation. This is the moment when everything and everyone is stripped from you. Friends fall away. Support disappears. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Because until you learn to hear God in the silence, you'll always need noise to feel secure. This seal breaks your addiction to validation. It forces you to meet the only one who never leaves. Many run from this stage. But those who stay, who learn to find peace in solitude, receive a power that no crowd can give. The second seal is betrayal. Every true warrior has a Judas, someone they trusted, someone they loved. And when that betrayal comes, it breaks something essential, the illusion of safety. But in its place, it builds something stronger, discernment. Betrayal doesn't just hurt, it teaches. It sharpens your eyes and aligns your spirit. You begin to see not through emotion, but through truth. And once you can see truth in others, you begin to see truth in yourself. Then comes the third seal, loss. The warrior must face death of a dream, a person, a version of themselves. This is where most people quit, when they lose what they thought they couldn't live without. But the loss is not the end, it's the passage. Because what is taken is never greater than what is coming. And when you learn to let go without bitterness, your soul becomes a chalice that can finally be filled by God, not the world. The fourth seal is temptation, not just of the flesh, but of the ego. Power, fame, shortcuts, revenge, these seduce the warrior. They show up right when your gifts begin to bloom. You'll be offered opportunities that look divine but come wrapped in pride. This is the test of purity. Can you wield power and remain humble? Can you be seen without needing to be worshipped? Can you stay grounded when destiny begins to open its gates? Most fail here. But those who pass, they are entrusted with levels of influence that can shake nations. The fifth seal is suffering for others. This is when the warrior is called not to fight for themselves, but for someone else. It's intercession. It's sacrifice. It's carrying battles that aren't yours because your soul is strong enough to hold them. This is the path of the servant king, the hidden queen. It's not glorious. It's rarely thanked, but it is divine, because this is where the warrior learns that their life is not about them. It's about service, and service is the ultimate proof of power. The sixth seal is revelation. After all the pain, all the emptying, all the dying, God begins to show you why. The veil lifts. The mission becomes clear. You begin to remember who you were before the world forgot. This is not knowledge, it's recognition. You begin to realize your dreams were too small, your identity too limited. You were never just human. You were a weapon of light disguised in flesh, a soul that volunteered to enter darkness, not to survive it but to transform it. And finally, the seventh seal, surrender. This is the paradoxical crown. After gaining strength, wisdom, vision, and authority, the true warrior lays it all down, not in defeat, but in devotion. They realize they are not the source, they are the vessel. And in that surrender, they become unstoppable. Not because they control, but because they are aligned. At this point, God doesn't need to fight for them. He fights through them. Their words carry weight. Their presence shifts rooms. Their life becomes a living portal of divine intervention. So I ask you now, not just as a listener, but as a seeker, which seal are you currently passing through? Are you in isolation, feeling abandoned by everyone you trusted? Are you facing betrayal, wondering why those closest to you turned away? Are you grieving a loss so deep it feels like your soul is disintegrating? Or are you being tempted, offered shiny alternatives that feel right but don't resonate with your spirit? Wherever you are, listen carefully, because warriors are not made in comfort. They are made in the dark. And if you're in the dark right now, it doesn't mean you're lost. It might mean you're being initiated. There's a sacred pain no one talks about. It's not the pain of failure or heartbreak or even betrayal. It's the pain of being hidden. The ache of knowing you carry something powerful, something divine, something meant, and yet no one sees it. No one calls it out. No one validates it. You feel invisible, forgotten, overlooked. But listen closely. When God hides you, it's never rejection. It's protection. It's preparation. And only the strongest of his warriors are hidden like this, because the weight of their calling is too heavy to be exposed too early. You're not buried. You're planted. I know this ache intimately. I've lived it. There were times I felt the fire in my bones, the clarity in my vision, the depth of my soul, but the world didn't seem to care. I'd sit in silence after pouring my heart into something sacred, only to be met with indifference, or worse, silence. And I would ask God, why give me this if no one will see it? And the answer came not in words, but in an understanding that pierced through my soul, because the gift isn't for now, it's for the appointed time. You see, there's a divine clock ticking behind the scenes of your life. And just like a fruit must ripen before harvest, a warrior must mature before mission. If God exposed you too soon, the very thing you're meant to carry would be crushed by expectation, misunderstanding, or premature praise. Early exposure can destroy what only time and pressure can refine. This is why some of the most powerful souls walk quietly among us. They're not on stages. They're not in headlines. They're not even fully awakened to the magnitude of who they are, because God has hidden them, veiled them, shielded them from the spotlight, from the noise, from the spiritual predators that swarm around unprotected gifts. And if you feel like that's been your life, know this: you're not being punished, you're being preserved. But the hiding is not passive. It's not just about waiting, it's about becoming. In the hidden season, you're being sculpted. God is dealing with your pride, your impatience, your wounds, your ego. He's stripping away the parts of you that would sabotage the mission if they came with you. You're learning obedience. You're learning how to move without applause, how to love without needing to be seen, how to serve without recognition. Because when the time does come and he pulls you out of the shadows, you won't be moved by praise. You'll be moved by purpose. Have you ever wondered why some people rise fast and fall even faster? It's because they were never hidden. They were exposed before they were ready. Their character couldn't hold the weight of their charisma. Their soul couldn't carry the pressure of the platform. So they crumbled. But that won't happen to you, because God is not just preparing your gift, He's preparing you. Are you willing to be hidden until He says, now? Are you willing to be misunderstood, unseen, underestimated, even ignored because you trust that your time will come? Because here's the truth. When God finally reveals you, no one will be able to deny it. Doors will open without you knocking. Alignments will manifest without your manipulation. What once required striving will begin to flow. Not because you forced it, but because you waited. And when that moment comes, you'll realize something profound. The hiding wasn't a delay. It was a gift. It gave you time to become pure, steady, unshakable. It gave you space to commune with God in secret, to hear His voice without the noise of the crowd. It taught you how to carry power without letting it corrupt you. And most of all, it taught you patience. And patience is the signature of warriors who last. So I ask you now, warrior, can you worship while hidden? Can you keep building when no one claps? Can you keep showing up when no one sees? Because this is the final layer of training. The world teaches us that visibility equals value. But the divine teaches us that invisibility is often the greatest sign of trust. God hides what is holy. If you've been in the shadows, don't resent them, bless them. Because the longer you've been hidden, the greater the assignment. The deeper the roots, the taller the tree. And when the time comes and the trumpet sounds in the spirit, when your name is called in realms you haven't even dreamed of, you will rise. Not as someone who wants to be great, but as someone who has become unshakably aligned with God Himself. You're not just being prepared for a moment. You're being sculpted into a vessel that will carry heaven into places where heaven has been forgotten. And that kind of power cannot be rushed. There is a shift happening. You can feel it in your spirit, can't you? A rumbling beneath the surface of this world. It's not chaos, it's a summoning. A call that's been echoing through dimensions, through bloodlines, through generations. And now it's reaching those who were born for this moment. God's hidden army is awakening, not with fanfare, not with noise, but with certainty. The time of hiding is coming to an end, and the unveiling has already begun. This isn't about religion. It's not even about belief systems. It's about remembrance. Souls remembering their origin. Spirits awakening to their assignment. People who once thought they were broken now realizing they were simply becoming. The world has tried to convince them they were too sensitive, too intense, too different, but now those very traits are activating. What was once a burden is becoming a weapon. What was once a wound is becoming a wellspring of wisdom. You see, God never sends warriors only for defense. He sends them to build, to restore, to reconstruct what was lost. And if you're feeling the stirring in your soul, the urge to speak, to create, to lead, to move, that's not restlessness. That's your spirit responding to the divine timeline. Something ancient is waking up in you. Something eternal. And it's not asking for permission anymore. The world is entering a time of great transition. The systems are shaking. The illusions are crumbling. The veils between what is seen and unseen are thinning daily. And in the middle of all this chaos, a new kind of leader is rising. Not the loudest voice in the room, not the one with the biggest following, but the one with the clearest alignment, the ones who have been in the wilderness, the ones who have been trained in silence, the ones who have nothing to prove, only something to give. You don't need to shout to be heard anymore. Your presence will speak. Your energy will pierce. Your walk will carry the frequency of heaven. But with that comes responsibility. This is not a time to play small. This is not a time to wait for approval. This is the hour to move, to obey, to step into the very identity that the enemy has spent years trying to make you forget. Have you noticed how everything that used to work no longer satisfies your spirit? The old dreams feel hollow. The old goals feel empty. That's because your assignment has evolved. You're not here to fit in, you're here to initiate. You're not here to survive, you're here to shift atmospheres. You're not here to be liked, you're here to liberate. But liberation begins within. You must release the fear of being misunderstood. You must let go of the need to explain your calling to those who were never meant to understand it. You must stop waiting for the world to validate what God already confirmed in your spirit. Because the time is now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. The final awakening isn't a mass event, it's a personal one. It's happening soul by soul, warrior by warrior, heart by heart. You'll know it's real because you won't be able to go back to who you were before. The things that once satisfied you will now feel like dust. The places you once hid in will now feel too small. You've outgrown your old life. You've graduated from your former self. You are no longer a seeker. You are the sent. And when the world begins to tremble under the weight of its own illusions, it will look for stability, for truth, for light. And it is then in that moment that God's hidden warriors will step forward. Not with ego, but with authority. Not with fear, but with fire. Not to take glory, but to give glory, because they know they were never the source. They were always the signal. So I leave you with this. What are you still holding back that you were sent to release? What truth are you still hiding that you were born to declare? What part of your soul are you still dimming, waiting for the world to be ready? The world will never be ready, but you are. You are not just chosen. You are called. You are not just waking up. You are rising. And the gates of heaven are waiting for you to remember what you came here to do. Your time is now. Rise, warrior.